Today we're doing a word creation, and I want to talk about experience and how I think it's overvalued in a lot of scenarios, and how in many realms of life, experience and our reliance on it is often being harmful and actually counterproductive to growth and success in those areas. Because it seems like people expect ones with the most experience to always be the best person to handle something, and that everything that they want to be done requires experience. However, there's so many examples of people that have all of the experience that just suck at what they do. And that's why I'm wearing this today. We're talking about Expyrisense as well. They are a great example. There are many Expyrisense in many leagues that have been around a long time, but they don't have a reputation for being good. They have reputations for being awful or imposing themselves on games, but they never get touched and they get put into intense situations because they have experience. But what they actually have is Expyrisense, which is the word we are creating. And this is a version of experience where the experience that they've built up, even though lengthy, is not good, and in their current state, they are not good at what they do and what they have experience in. Sure, they have experience, but what it really equates to is expired sense. Their common sense is out the window, and they feel confident in making poor decisions because they have experience and they've been doing it so long. We've had great examples recently with Expyrisense. I don't even watch baseball, but Angel Hernandez, who is an umpire, a Phillies player, absolutely flips out at him and screams at him for ruining the game for both teams, and everyone seems to be in agreement. That's my video of the day. It shows a lot of just awful calls by him and how both teams were super frustrated. And this isn't uncommon. There's so many Expyrisense officials that get to stick around because they've been around forever, even though they're terrible. And these leagues decide that they are untouchable because of their experience, which is absurd. And as people get older, it becomes harder and harder to change and adapt. But experience is constantly rewarded in just about all disciplines. So in positions where you need some innovation, adaptation, or new thinking, you're constantly getting people that have been around forever in approaching things the same way. I think this is a detrimental thing not just to officiating or sports. It's prevalent in business across the board and politics. I mean, every facet of our society is skewing older and older and older, and then they naturally have less connection to the majority of people as generational gaps grow. And not every older person has Expyrisense and is just clueless because they're old. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying you can tell when that is the case, and they're protected under this veil of experience. Things have to be viewed more objectively and without using that as a giant shield as why they can't be touched. And the requirements for experience and over-glorification of that attribute needs to stop, and things will progress better if that is the case. That's most of what I have to say. Quickly, let me go through some of the spelling aspects of Expyrisense. I chose to have that first vowel after the E as a Y because then you get the pyre sound. Pyre also means like fire, which a lot of the people with Expyrisense should be. Also, that Y makes a more defined noise that I was going for phonetically than some of the other vowel options, where I would probably need like an I and an E to make that work. Plus, having the letter Y in there is appropriate because you're constantly asking why these people still have jobs and all the power. After that, spelling's pretty self-explanatory. We basically just go into I with the I sound, and then sense because they have expired sense. And that's how we get to Expyrisense, which of course also is pretty similar to experience because it's that version of it. That's what we've got for the rant of a daily do for today. Act accordingly. For our Expyrisense themed song and video of the day, I chose Wash It All Away by Five Finger Death Punch, and that's kind of my stance on what to do with people with Expyrisense. This is an awesome, pretty heavy song that's fairly aggressive lyrically and a great listen, Then for the video of the day, I picked those Angel Hernandez highlights from the game that I was talking about, where he has a bunch of awful calls, and then the blow up just calling him out for being an awful Insukia rhyme all game long. And I'm sure it extends well past that game. Quickly for another side example, in like the NBA, there's also like Scott Foster is notorious for just like ruining a lot of games and making them a much worse product to watch, and he'll single out certain players like Chris Paul in the playoffs. For him to lose 14 games without a win is nearly a statistical impossibility if there's not something else going on. But he's going to continue to get huge games and probably never be touched, so that's just how it goes when you have Expyrisense that people cannot see. Anyway, that'll do it for the Daily Do. A peace.